back to Space Engineers on the Xbox, on the Series X. And this one is an interesting one. It's a mod showcase, but it's a bit different. I'm going to do something different with this one. First of all, let me introduce you to the modder known as Lalea. Lalea does LifeTech mods. This one is the LifeTech Powers. And what it does is it adds deuterium, fusion reactors, the processing units to process your deuterium, tanks, and fusion thrusters to Space Engineers. It adds some hydrogen fuel cells, and you have two tiers of these, tier 1 and tier 2. And you can play around with those in survival. I'm going to be playing in creative to cut down on the amount of time it takes to do things. And you can find this deuterium on most moons. You'll find normal on the surface, and you'll find some dense deuterium in deep patches. You'll also find it on the alien planet, near the poles, and on asteroids, but you'll only find normal deuterium on asteroids. These processing units generate deuterium out of stone and gravel, which is a low amount, ice, a much higher amount, and deuterium itself, a very high amount. You also have fusion reactors, and this all comes in large and small grid as well. And you have small and large grid fusion thrusters in 3 sizes. And the replacement for the hydrogen engine is the hydrogen fuel cells. They function like the hydrogen engine, only they are far more efficient. Lalea has done an absolutely stonking amount of work on this mod, so I'm going to take you to the mod menu and just flick through some of these things so you can see how great these look. So we're going to go all the way to the end of the mod menu, and we're going to look at the fuel cells. Now remember, I said the fuel cells are basically the replacement for the hydrogen engine. So we're going to use the large grid to look at them. And we've got tier 0 fuel cell, tier 1. Rotate this one. I've probably got them upside down. Oh, there we go. Nope, got them the right way up. So, as you can see, these are very well designed. Some lovely detail on them. Absolutely stonking work. Superb. Fit really well on large grid. And of course, there's the small grid variants as well, which we can quickly look at without too much trouble. There's the one. Look how nice that is. And the rest of them, that's a tier 2. Actually, easy way to do it. Got a platform here. We can just pop your fuel cells down. Tier 0 fuel cell. Tier 1. And a tier 2. All the detail. Very good. Very impressive amount of work. So, banging on. Bear with me. We have some processing units. Yeah, we have a deuterium processor. Now remember what I said at the start of this. These are how you will refine your deuterium in game. So again, starting with the deuterium processor itself. Moving on to the separator, gravel and stone can be turned into deuterium. Gas used for fuel. And remember, each one of these does a different thing, and Lalea has done a fab job on describing what each one does. The processor converts ice into your fuel, into deuterium, hydrogen, and oxygen, so you can use this one on your ships. And the separator transforms stone and gravel into gaseous deuterium and hydrogen. And basically, the vaporizer transforms the solid deuterium you'll find in the game into the gas you need to provide fuel. Obviously, the most impressive one, if you're on Earth-like and you've got lots of ice available, is your processor. You'll get deuterium, hydrogen, and oxygen out of that one. Moving on. You need a place to store them. So there's small deuterium tanks. There's a large deuterium tank, and an even bigger one for your great big huge starship build projects that I know a lot of you on the Xbox Facebook group love to build. So look at the detail on that. That is quality work, superb stuff, outstanding. Looking through again, you have your fusion reactors. These, when combined with a grid and your deuterium processing, just throw your deuterium into a box and have it drawn away by these fusion reactors. Again, lots of detail work, very impressive. The Stellarator version, and gives you a lot of energy on that one. And then again, the large fusion reactor, the Tokamak. This isn't as good as the Stellarator, but still good. Just to give you an idea of the power that this puts out, if I put one of these down, we have a look in the control panel on it, you'll see it pushes out 62.50 megawatts. That is not bad. That for a moment. Flicking through again on this mod showcase. Finally, fusion thrusters. Brilliant amount of work. You have the small fusion thruster. Lovely detail. Very high quality. Nicely modelled. Then you have the large fusion thruster version. Again, beautiful modelling, different looking, not just a bigger version of the same thing. A lot of detail work's gone into this. It is very, very cool. And then the huge fusion thruster. Again, another absolutely superbly detailed piece of work. Giant thruster, perfect for your ships. And this is going to push out an absolutely cracking amount of thrust. And that is the mod showcase in terms of what you see with all the parts. All of this comes, of course, in small grid variants. Your small grid builds. Lalia does do other mods, one of those being a conveyor mod, but that only comes at this point in time in small grid. Get rid of these. So if we just go to my time of day, let's take it all the way forward again to morning. See the sun starting to rise. Take it back a bit more. That'll do. What I wanted to try and do with this, as a little bit of a difference to a mod showcase, is see if I can work Lifetek's fusion mod out and build a version of my Sand Scout, or at least some fusion powered flying vehicle. So I want to start with let's see, we want a processing unit of some kind. Now, I'm on the Earth-like planet. I have lots of ice available, but I'm tempted with this one to go for something maybe a little more, let's see, let's go for the separator. Remember what I said, separator allows you to stone in to the system and get fuel out and gravel. And I've got some stone on me, so that's perfect. So we've got a way to make fuel. We need a way to store fuel. And I'm going to go for a tank. I'm going to select that tank. You should see there's 4 ports there. They should line up nicely. Now that tank, of course, because I'm in creative, will start filling automatically. You can see it there starting up. Starts at 50%. Now this thing won't have any power at the moment, so we'll have a look at that in a bit. We're going to require deuterium power. Obviously in creative mode we could just slap some reactors on for the time being. But we'll take a look at, let's see, we want a storage container. I think a medium will do. We can put that there. And then, because this isn't really anything special, it's just me playing around with the thing. I do love my industrial cockpits, so we'll slap an industrial cockpit on there as well. You will get some power because my grid is connected through a rotor. You've seen me do builds using the rotor to provide power to a ship while I'm building from a central headquarters. Very useful. So now, let's have a look at how we're going to do our ship in terms of getting the bits and pieces we want. Well, I'm a fan of conveyor blocks for a reason. These conveyor blocks themselves come in quite handy, and I just want to put enough of these reactors, the small ones. These are cute as well. Brilliant design. I want to put enough of these on to power my separator. So you actually need about 8 of these with a build like this, by the look of it. I did play around a little bit, maybe more. Might require a couple more, who knows. We shall see. I'm just going to fill this line with them, actually. And then we'll get some deuterium flowing into the reactors or whatever. Let's see whether or not this pulls stone in from this cargo box. I may have to put a cargo box on the back. Nope, there it goes. It's been pulled in. There you go, your deuterium separator has got that stone. Should start making fuel. So what we want now on this particular mod is we want to make some way of linking up our new fusion thrusters. And I know they're quite chunky in terms of their size. So if we're going to put them on, I'd rather have them central. And since they're quite powerful, I'm probably only going to use a few. So, well, what we could do is we could slap one of my favourite small connectors on here like this. And just for a bit of variety, make a little T-junction at the top, like this. Half the fun of this is, of course, I've not actually really played around with this mod. One of the people on the Facebook group brought it to my attention, and I thought, oh, hello, this is cool. So, you're actually experiencing the mod for the first time in terms of, yeah, that'll do. Trying to make a working ship with it. I will be going back to my survival save fairly soon as well, so that will be a new player guide to survival. Hopefully this will work. What we want to do now is look at where are we going to put the thrusters. Well, I want I want a small conveyor tube, I think, to run, if we can, to the back of the ship on this side. You could build in symmetry mode as well in creative. That's always fun to do. Again, look through my videos. I've got several of those on how to do it. Yeah, we're going to actually take advantage of this port here as well, just to make sure things are doing well. I'm a big fan of taking advantage of these side ports on boxes and things, just in case I want to link something else up. So we have connections here and there. What we want to try and do now is have a look to see whether these thrusters will work. I'm linking them on. As I said, this is all brand new. They're big. Want the little one. There we go. The lights are green. The thrust is seen. So we have green thrust there. So I don't want to break the bank with thrusters. Because we're on the Earth light, we don't need too much downforce. So 2 of these will do on that. Quick save. Both bumpers and X. So what we want now is we want some upward thrust. So we're just going to slap 4 of these, and they have custom coloured thrust jets on as well. They look pretty cool. And again, I don't want to overly do anything with this, so I'm just going to put these big chunky beauties on the side here as well. And there we go. We've got forward thrust, backward thrust, lifting thrust. We've got no landing gear at the moment, but that's fine. Might need a bit more power, or we might need to stock this a bit more, not sure. What I want to do though, briefly, is throw my thrusters into a groove, and I'm going to reiterate what I always say when grouping things. First of all, you can select the first one Now, somebody told me that you can do this. Okay, so just hold down the D-pad anyway. Select them all. Apparently, you're supposed to be able to do it so you can select one and then select the ones between, but I'm not sure about that. Oh, there you go. That's how you do it. So you can do it, but you need to use the left bumper. There we go. You learn something new every day. So, by holding down right bumper and A, select your small fusion thruster, go all the way down to the bottom, hold down left bumper and A. Ah no, that's not how you do it. Okay, let's try it again. All good fun trying to work this out. And so this was told to me by somebody, and look at it, it's left bumper A, then left bumper A. Yeah, there we go. So you can select the whole list very quickly by starting at the top with left bumper A and then moving down and selecting with left bumper A again in blocks. Of course, if you've got other things in between that list, you're going to end up with, well, the wrong thing selected. But now you have that selected, don't press anything else. You'll also notice that potentially something went wrong there. So there is something in this list, and can you see it? Your fusion reactors. This is why I prefer to select things with right bumper A and just go down the list until I've got everything selected. So a nice little demonstration there of what happens if you select the wrong object. You'll lose your override bar. So now we've got all of our thrusters. What we don't do is we don't push right on the D-pad, because you will accidentally set your thrust override. So just flick the left stick to the right twice and you'll get to the block group. That's the golden rule of Space Engineers menu operation on a controller. Always go between things in the window with the left stick and then select things in that window with the D-pad. Don't push across with the D-pad, because you can end up hitting thrust override and other settings by accident. So we're going to call this F thrust. And save it. And then we're going to put that onto our cockpit by holding down the direction we want, tapping the right bumper to go to groups, selecting F thrust, and toggling block on off. There we go. Now what you want to do is you want to hope that this thing has got lift. But first of all, I think it needs some landing gear. Now we could slap some regular landing gear on, or just for now, we can build some stubbies. Thanks to Heavy Industry, the update, we've now got ways of making custom landing gear. Yeah, we'll just do it like this. Messing about. Always fun. Down there. Because we've got magnetic plates now, we can use those as our landing gear. And you will find them in the landing gear section. Just pop 4 of these on. And this is why I also like to build on a gantry, because it's easier to get access. Same deal. There's your magnetic plates. Select one. without anything else selected. Select them all. So select one, hold down the left bumper and A, go to the bottom of the ones you want. Press A again. Landing gear. So we'll just call this gear. All good fun. And same deal. We'll stick our gear. And we'll go for switch lock. And one thing we want to do just before we do anything else, go back to the control panel, find our gear, and you can do that either from there or, as you can see it here, just select the gear and turn off auto lock. And leave used for parking on if you want, or you could turn that off so you won't toggle them by accident if you press the Y button. So there you go. That is now our rather stubby, fully powered little ship built using the LifeTech power mod. So I'm going to hope now that this doesn't come crashing to the ground, because I've not built using this. I tend to build using... Oh, there you go. So there's not enough lift. This is why you quick save. So we need a lot more lift. Probably going to need at least 2 or 3 more of these thrusters. Strangely enough, of course, hydrogen thrusters would have probably helped that, although these are quite heavy blocks. So the good news is we can go back to a previous save. And how you do that at the moment, because we can't use right bumper Y, is go to your replay tool and go to reload world and just hit quick load. So we're going to have to think about how we're going to do this now. This is why I always build on gantries, though. I mean, I could have built it much lower to the ground. Let's have a look at what thrust these things are actually pushing out. As I said, this is a bit of a special mod showcase because I'm actually doing a live build on it. I don't normally do things like that. So let's have a look at our thrust override. 115.3 kN. We are getting thrust. So this is a brand new thing for me. And now I want to look at how I'm going to do this. And I think what I might do is I may cut those bottom thrusters off or add some more in somewhere. Danger, of course, is if you split this pipe here, you're going to end up with these back thrusters falling off. So the best thing to do in creative is to take the whole pipe off with it and take thrusters out at the same time. And then, for sake of argument, we're going to just slap a bunch of small conveyors all the way to the back on this side and on here as well. We're also going to check to see whether or not thrust override is actually on at some point. But we're going to try since we're in creative, we're going to put a bit more thrust on than I normally would. Why don't we just fill this whole thing? See if that gives us the lift we need. Oops. There. The custom thrusters look very nice. We'll save again. And we'll go back to our cockpit. Now you'll notice that our thrusters will appear like this. I'm just going to set the thrust override, then I'm going to turn it off. So as we go down, while we've got this list, it will highlight all of our thrusters in the control panel. So what we can do is hold down right bumper and A and start adding the ones that aren't listed, like so. Making sure they're all done. Then move straight across to our block group using the stick and select save. That saves us having to create a new block group. Look, everything seems decent. On. Save again, just in case. You never know. There is sometimes a problem with Space Engineers at the moment with your thrusters not showing the thrust effect. And if that happens, it can happen with hydrogen thrusters a lot. You'll see that you won't actually have any effect whatsoever until you actually engage the thrusters themselves. And then you should see that the thrust effect is back. So don't worry if that happens. Just fire up all your thrusters. Right. Now, hopefully this will work. If not, I'm not sure what's going on. So what I'll do is I will turn the thrust override on and see if I can get it to work that way. There we go. Now we've got enough lift. So it's just a case that the 4 wouldn't lift this ship. There you go. So we've got 2 at the front and 2 at the back. The LifeTech Power Mod, remember, we can actually create the fuel we need by throwing stone and gravel into the ship. Bring it down. There we go. We can get stone and gravel into that box. We'll probably need to rework the front a little, but this was just a little play around thing. See that this has got stone in there, and that will create the fuel we need to run the thrusters. And if you use the other part of the mod, you can do it with deuterium or with ice. and that's always fun. So there, yeah, that's the mod showcase on the Lear's Lifetech Powers mod. Well worth looking at. I'm really impressed with the design of the mod and the actual work that's gone into creating the custom blocks and the thrusters themselves. I mean, you look at these are really well designed. They fit as well nicely with the rest of the sci-fi thrusters from Sparks of the Future. And the small grid thrusters, if you look at these, as I said, you know, those look really nice. Even the small, large looks good. And you've even got a version of your huge fusion thruster. Small grid. There it is. So that's Lifetech. I'll leave the link to the mod in the description of this video. If you're interested in the parts of the mod rather than just this little play around build that I didn't know would work or not, then yeah, have a look at the start of the video, because that's where I go through every single block in the mod. Join me next time for even more Space Engineers on the Xbox. I will be looking at basic vanilla hydrogen systems for large grid ships. So rather than the small grid that you've seen me build my little Atmo vessel, I'll be looking at something a bit bigger and giving you some tips when designing a large grid hydrogen ship. Things like, where do you put your hydrogen tanks? Where do you plumb in your hydrogen system? And always follow the rule that function trumps form. In other words, a ship can be built from just a box. You can layer, detail, and other aesthetics outside that box. As long as you've got boxes connecting to boxes that function and would lift a ship, you can make something like the Callisto 71. All the Callisto 71 was, and I'll link that again in the video description, all that was boxes inside boxes, and then the outer shell is a lot of cosmetic design and paneling to give it the shape I wanted. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. Stay safe, take care, have fun, enjoy the game. We are edging ever closer, potentially, to Warfare 2. I'm pretty sure we will see some more details on that fairly soon. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Hopefully you'll pick up some hints, tips, and I'd like to see what you do with Lifetech Powers mod if you jump on that one. Bye for now. Ta-ta.